So I can open this video by giving a academic big brain quote about films. I could pull out one of my overpriced film books that I still have lying around collecting dust from my time in university. Yes, I got a BA, and yes, I am training for my future employment at McDonald's. Would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that? Self-own aside, however, a style of filmmaking that I have always unironically enjoyed has been B-movies. B-movies were low-budget commercial films from the golden age of Hollywood, usually shown as double features in drive-in theaters around America. B-movies copied trends of the day from westerns, horror, and sci-fi films. This trend has continued into modern day. So, dear viewer, I hear you ask, well, Speedy, what B-movie are you going to be watching? And to be honest, I don't know how to class the topic of today's video, because nobody, and I mean nobody, has heard of Gentlemen Explorers before. Well, until now. In fact, I guarantee you, dear viewer, that if you type in Gentlemen Explorers into Google or YouTube, besides videos about pre-owned vintage luxury watches and something called Gentlemen Bastards, which I don't know, kind of sounds like Dry Rain or dudes named Chad not having the build of a brick shit house. But apart from that, the video that you are watching now will be the only video that pops up. Well, either that or the whole last movie. So let's start where all films start: pre-production. Gentlemen Explorers started its life as a web series directed by a man named Matt Sneed, who was the director and producer of a production company named Standard Issue TV back in 2011. The production company aimed to host original high production value action, sci-fi and comedy web series.
Standard Issue TV is a cutting-edge production company. What we hope to do is, by the end of 2011, emerge as one of the internet's premier sources for independent web series. What we specialize in is action, sci-fi.
They're cue to go in.
Well, they call you reckless?
I'm only getting started.
And outrageous comedies.
The project, titled Young Gentlemen Explorers, was a Kickstarter project. It claimed to be the first live-action steampunk show of its kind and was adapted from Grimm's Brothers fairy tales.
One of the web series that we hope to make this year is called Young Gentlemen Explorers.
Set in 1893, Riley and the magician are two amateur explorers that are forced by a secret government agency to retrieve this powerful artifact that is from the Grimm's Brothers fairy tales.
The project was asking for 17,628, however it just raised 1,062. Yes, one could say that their ambition was way too high. Back in 2011, online video was still a new thing. Websites would not let you upload anything bigger than 240 or 480p resolution on most websites at the time, and if they just want to make independent TV shows, that wouldn't work either. The internet wasn't where it was at that time. It was still a very small percentage of the population were using the internet on a day-to-day basis. Needless to say, Standard Issue.tv was ahead of its time. Using the Wayback Machine, you can see that Standard Issue TV, the website, was pulled from the internet in 2016. So that just leaves us with Gentlemen Explorers, the film which was released in 2013. So to tie this all together for the people in the back, Young Gentlemen Explorers was a failed Kickstarter project. The script sat for 2 years on a shelf somewhere, I guess. The director merged the web series into a film script and gave it a new title, but the opening of the YouTube rip calls it Young Gentlemen Explorers, but the IMDb just calls it Gentlemen Explorers. So fuck me, I guess. Gotta have to call it Gentlemen Explorers. And then it was released in 2013. All good? Did everybody get that? Okay, let's talk about the movie. So, what is this film about? This plot summary comes from IMDb. Gentleman Explorers is set in 1893. Marcus Riley and his partner, the Magician, are freelance explorers who specialize in recovery of folklore items and are forced by a secret government agency to retrieve a powerful object from one of Grimm's brothers' fairy tales, the Infinity Pistol. In order to find the pistol, the two explorers must partner up with a gorgeous Mexican artifact agent in order to find it before the warmongering Prussians do. For this review, I went back and watched the film. This is my third time I've watched it. There is only one reason for that, and that is to find out who this film was made for. Usually when small production companies are getting off the ground, they usually try to fit into a niche genre. Think of a company like A24 and their horror films. However, with Gentleman Explorers, I find that the niche of steampunk is a bit too niche to cater to. You can cater to any audience or subculture you wish. However, it means that a big percentage of that subculture need to see the film. And judging by the lack of reviews, it seems like people didn't pick this film up. What I mean by that is usually when a film comes out and represents a niche or subculture, it gets adopted by the subculture. For example, Repo, the Genetic Opera 2008, represents the goth subculture. Well, that or Hamilton and Twitter users. All jokes aside, however, the genre is action adventure, and it's sad to say the film lacks in that front also. This does tend to happen with smaller productions. The ambition of the filmmaker's vision gets diluted for whatever reason. Look, I think it would be bad luck to rip into a film like this. It would be very easy to say, lol, bad film XD. I personally have a soft spot for films that don't really work for whatever reason. In part, it comes from knowing how fucking unglamorous filmmaking actually is. To quote George Lucas here, a movie is never finished, only abandoned, so that's my bias, I guess. One note that I will give credit to is using Grimm's Brothers fairy tales as a baseline. I think that idea of a government agency retrieving folklore items has a lot of untapped potential. Think an SCP cinematic universe. Another thing that I will give props to is that everybody seemed to be having fun on set. I know that's something I can't state as fact, but all the actors seem to be having fun, and the two main leads have some good chemistry with each other.
Charles, we're here. Charles, wake up.
What?
Here. Get up.
Oh, come on. Wait. Ugh. Bloody hell.
All in all, Gentleman Explorers is one of these films that you watch and then you forget about straight after. I know that seems very harsh, but it really does nothing with steampunk style that it has, and the action is very basic. It's just your standard sci-fi action adventure film that has too much ambition for it to make an impact. However, I still like this film for whatever reason. As I stated before, I have a soft spot for films that just fucking try. That's why I like it. Watch this film, honestly, if you're any way like me. It's free on YouTube. So now it's time for the post-credit scene. So yeah, The Gentleman Explorers isn't a good film, but I enjoyed it for what it is, and really that's about it. I have a hard time dunking on films like this because I find it unnecessary and a bit mean-spirited, if I'm being honest. The film and the filmmaker tried, and I can't fault them for trying. The director, writer and editor, Matt Sneed, produced a short film called Reckoning in 2020 and seems to be still in the industry, which is great. However, one of the biggest stars to come from this film is Darren Kendrick, who was the magician who had a on-screen role in Thor: Frost Giant Sentry, which is actually pretty cool, no pun intended there. So let's wrap this video up, I guess. One thing that I still think about is how there are no real reviews of this film. On TV Tropes there is 1/3 of a page and that's it, which is just the summary that I got off IMDb. On Letterboxd, only one review, which is kind of a self-promo post about this guy's blog, and he goes off on the opening scene calling it terribly insensitive, like Jesus my guy, calm down. You're reading Gentleman Explorers on Letterboxd. I actually went onto his website to read his review and cutting through 3 layers of snark. He summarizes by saying the film is bad and that's it. You say your reviews are from the depths. Depths of what? A paddling pool? Just remember, dear viewer, there is more information in this video than any fucking snarky reviewer will ever do, and I only used Google, so good luck on those reviews, buddy. Get back to the point here. One quote that the Snark King that I find useful is that Gentleman Explorers is on the fringes of the movie world. This film doesn't really work. I think we put that in stone here today, but does it really need to? A lot of films get made and some don't even see the light of day or the light of the projector. A few more get small runs in cinemas around the world for only a few weeks. A few more get distribution rights and get DVDs that sit on shelves collecting dust for years. What I'm trying to say here is the films that we see breaking box office sales are only the tip of the iceberg. However, with the internet, a film like The Gentleman's Explorers can be an oddity on the highway of the internet, and I think that's pretty cool, all things considered. So, if you have 82 minutes to spare and it's midnight where you are, why don't you enter the fringes of the cinema world and watch Gentleman's Explorers?